This one, the gate won't be too loud, will it? Hello! Hello from my Fractal. This is so dumb.
You get the idea.
Hey guys, Misha from Periphery here. #1 Jake Bowen fan in the whole universe, as you can see. This says Jake Bowen, right? I'm pretty sure it does. Either that or it says something really bad and I don't know and I'm walking around with it. Still, the important thing is that you know that I'm the #1 Jake Bowen fan in the universe, and that is what I'm here to talk to you about today. We finally just switched, actually kind of late in the game, to the Axe FX 3 because the Axe 2 worked so well, and we switched from doing a chaotic, like we're gonna have 150 patches for this set, to like having one patch per song. And now moving forward, it makes things very neat, very easy. That is the way we're gonna do it. So Matt Picone, I gotta give a big shout out to Matt Picone for taking just phenomenal care of us over the years. And he's been extremely useful because we always have questions like, hey, can we do this? Or how do you do this? And there's usually a feature that's been added or it's about to be added or whatever, because it's very likely that we're not the first people to request something like this. Any touring musician will probably be in a scenario where they're like, hey, I really wish I could do this. So when we were setting up the Axe FX 3s, there was like a whole bunch of things like, man, it'd be really great if we could do this. He's like, oh yeah, that's a feature already. This is how you do it. Very simple things like being able to adjust the scene volume separately, like that is a godsend. Because you set your whole thing up and then you're like, oh man, this one patch is louder, or this one scene's louder, and I don't want to like have my linked amp adjusted. So you just bring I was like, oh my God, this solves all our problems. There you go. It's full use. Using 101% of this guitar right now. For all you nerds out there, if the guitar tone sounded a little bit dull, it's because it is. I run both high pass and low pass filters, but the low pass is really important. I'm cutting, I want to say about 7,500, which is pretty low, you know? But the idea is that if you are hearing these guitar tones at 100 dB live, a lot of that is just kind of noise. It's kind of stuff that's just going to hurt your ears. And I don't know about you guys, but I really hate it when I go to a show and all I hear is like, shh, you know? We're doing that little friendly dip around 4K-ish, which again, it's like kind of tough on the ears at loud volumes. And yeah, just cutting that top end right off. So it doesn't sound particularly flattering on its own, but in the context of a mix, it's taking up less space and it's friendlier on the ears. It's easier for you guys. You don't need earplugs, and it allows the low end to come through so you have a bit more power. It sounds a bit bigger. So we're always dialing these things for the context, which is not playing for you directly on video, but in the context of a live show. So I started off with modelers because recording in a bedroom, it's very handy to be able to record at any hour of the day and not disturb your friends or neighbors or whatever. And I started around the time, you know, in the early 2000s when modelers were starting to become sort of decent, but I always found that I did put a lot of work into processing, and it never felt very good. You know, I had some tube amps, which were quite difficult to record with, but always felt really nice. And I remember hearing all this hype on the forums about this new Axe FX, this crazy black box that just was the best thing ever. It was very expensive. I didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't afford one for a while. I actually spoke to Jokka Skog. Is that how you say it? Skog? Jokka Skog. Who's friends with like the Meshuggah guys. He's in Clawfinger. I think I spoke to him on the Meshuggah forum, the Tangent forums, and he was like, dude, like, you're gonna love this thing. And they had all come from like the Line 6 world, the Pod XT, X3, the Vetas and all that stuff. And he was like, dude, this is a game changer. And he's actually the guy who sold me on it, because like I felt, you know, those guys know their guitar tone, they're nerds, and they were coming from that same direction. And I was like, okay, fine. If it's really that good, I'm gonna give this thing a shot. And I think what I did was I'd extracted so much out of the modelers that I was using that by the time I got the Axe FX, it was like this revelation. It was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing. I was so in love because all the limitations I felt I was using like 101% of what like the Pod X3 could do. And then all of a sudden I had this unit that could do everything. And it just felt like everything was opened up, and it felt just phenomenal to play through. And I just found it so easy to get tones that I was so happy with. And not just get tones, but like explore a bunch of different directions. I was always changing it up and sort of discovering my own sound using that. So basically from that day, I haven't looked back. And that was the XFX Ultra. And from then on, obviously that went to the XFX 2 and the XFX 3s, which you could see. This is the 3 Plus Ultra HBO Max. I don't know whatever it is. The best one, the one you should buy. Sell what you have and buy this one. They've been such an integral part of our sound from day one. Obviously, the first Periphery album and on have always featured these. But if you want to build something, this is really the ideal way to do that. The XFX is also the first system where we had the laptop doing all the changing for us. And that's one of those things that since we started that, God, like 12, 13 years ago, haven't looked back. And now, it's funny, we did a clinic the other day using the FM9, and I was like, man, like it's a lot of work to really think about doing the switching. It's so handy. We have a lot of automation going for like different like CC lanes. Like if you want to have like the whammy do stuff, or like you can automate anything. You just draw it into an automation lane in your DAW. So it's something that's really indispensable for us at this point. Has my favorite tuner of all time, and I find it very hard to tune on anything else. Our backup XFX is relegated to tuner for our guitar tech. A very expensive but very effective tuner. And then my favorite thing, oh look at that, it's up there. Oh, I can do it while I'm playing the song, wow. Dude, the best, that's the best. They are roadworthy units. I shouldn't admit this, and now we don't do this anymore, but we ran without a backup for like a decade. And that is one of the most important things for touring bands, is to be able to have your thing start up and work. Yeah, it really is a wonderful piece of gear. I cannot use anything else. And where's our backup? Did we not bring the backup?
It's here.
It's here?
It's in the closet.
Okay.